So grab your pens, get ready to move, because we're going to move fast, okay? I got a bunch of slides. I got a bunch of examples. This is how to make 6 to 7 figures with what you already know. This is the fast action implementation part of this event. I will tell you that what I'm about to teach you, some of the things that I'm about to teach you, people have implemented so fast at events. I already told you some people did breaks at lunch from this. I had one lady who took a text message. I call it a 6-figure text message. She took out her phone, she texted it, and in the middle of my talk, she jumped up and went, "Oh!" And I don't have that happen all that often. I mean, I have people who hoorah, raise their hands, respond back, but she went, "Oh!" And I said, "What's up?" And she goes, "He texted back." And I grabbed her phone and I started texting back to the person that she texted back. And in the actual event, she closed a $5,000 deal, me texting on her phone as her. Okay? So what I'm telling you is what I'm going to teach you right now works now. Okay? It's not something you need to plan out. It's not something that you need to think a lot about. I just want you to implement it. Okay? Now, before I do that, I'm going to take you back in time just a little bit. And this is a little part that I call how I accidentally made a lot of money, called consulting. Okay, so the first part of this is I had something, some of you heard me talk about this. I call this free lunch lessons. When I first started out in business, you heard the story on day one, which feels like it was about 7 weeks ago, but it was day one. I told the story about how I built 2 online businesses. I had a business for people who wanted to be fighter pilots. Then my next business was with basketball referees. So I would go to events. I would stand up on stage. Sometimes I would sit on a panel and I would tell the story of the success that I had in business. And then what happened was I would go to the back to answer people's questions, and I would always have somebody come up to me, and they would always ask me a question, and they would always ask the question the same way. In fact, you've heard this question before, and I know you've heard it because when I start saying the question, you're going to be able to fill in the rest of the question. So they would come up to me, and they would say, "Do you mind if I take you to lunch so I can pick your brain?" They say it the same way every time, okay? By the way, just so you know, if somebody says, "Can I take you to lunch so I can pick your brain?" what they're actually saying is, "Do you mind if I be cheap on my way to success? Because nothing you say to me, I'm actually going to implement, because I understand that because I don't pay attention," okay? So if somebody's back there saying, "Can I pick your brain?" what they're saying is, I don't pay, and therefore I don't pay attention. Because what happened was, as a young business owner, isn't that true? As a young business owner, what I would do is I would go, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to go to lunch. Let's go to lunch." Because truly, I like teaching and I like sharing information that works. I like to see the light bulb go off in people's eyes in business. So I would sit there at lunch with this person and I would "Okay, here's what you got to do. Do this, put your website up like this, put this page up, do this, add this on here." And they'd be writing things down and asking me questions. And then the bill would come. And then, I'd be like an awkward moment where they're like, "What do you want to do, split this up?" I'm like, I thought we were, and then next thing you know, I would be back at this event. Like 2-3 months later, maybe 4 months later, I'd be back at this event again, okay? And I would be at the event, and I'd see a dude walk in the door that I had just done lunch lessons with, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And then, he'd ignore me. "Whoa, wait a second, where did he go?" Okay, and then finally, on day 2, I would be like, "Hey, what's up, man? How'd things go? We had that lunch. Did you?" And they would always say it like this: "Oh, Ed, I'm so sorry. I got so busy and I went back and then life happened. But man, we got the stuff that you're teaching us. We got it ready to implement." And it was that way every single time. Because what I realized is what I said. This is Joe Polish line, by the way. Because if you don't pay, you what? You don't pay attention. And so what happened was I had 2 changes in my mindset. This was back in 2007, 2008. The first one was I was at an event, and I was sitting at the event, and the person who was leading the event had a mastermind and coaching program similar to the one that I offered yesterday. And he stood up and he offered the program for $15,000. This is back in 2008. And I remember thinking, I don't have $15,000, but I do want to work with this person because I think I have some things that I could work on in terms of my presenting and my offers, and I want to really dial this in, but I didn't have liquid $15,000. So I decided, I'm going to sign up for this person's program. So I decided to sign up. I did the payment option on the program. And the truth is, I got my money back out of that program before I did my very first coaching session with this person. It was actually interesting. I spent an entire day breaking down my entire business, looking at all the numbers, looking at the traffic to my website, looking at the conversions. And I showed up to this coaching day and I go, hey man, we haven't even started yet, but I want you to know I actually got all my money back already because of my preparation, just in the preparing, okay? So the first was a mindset shift. The second thing is I go, hey, I just paid somebody $15,000. So guess what I'm not doing anymore? It actually took me investing, right? Before I said, hey, I was really, in a lot of ways, before when I was doing free lunch lessons, I was out of integrity with myself because I was trying to get free information from everybody. And therefore, I wasn't charging people for my time. So I said, I'm going to do this. The second thing I did is I created a new picture in my head. Let me show you the picture. Somebody says this, hey, can I take you to lunch so I can pick your brain? Well, the actual answer is either yes or no. And yes seems like the nice thing to do, and no seems like the not nice thing to do. So I have a rule. The rule goes like this. You should be able to say no to somebody without a sentence afterwards. Okay, no, sorry, I'm really busy. No, sorry. But sometimes you should be able to say no. So what I say now, my favorite phrase in the whole world, grab a pen, write this down, is no, but thank you for asking. Hey, can I take you to lunch to pick your brain? No, but thank you for asking. That's all you need to say. You don't need to give a reason. You don't owe them a reason. They didn't earn some sort of reason from you. They asked the question, you give them the answer. Okay, but to do this at first, I needed a framework to make myself feel that I wasn't so evil, okay? And so here's what I used to do. I would picture, on one side, I would picture myself sitting at lunch with this person, okay? And we were over there having lunch, and they were picking my brain and not implementing. That was on one side. I had this picture. And on the other side, I had a picture of me sitting on the floor playing Legos with my kids. Now, I don't know about you, but given the option of giving free information away over a lunch that I'm going to have to probably pay for anyway, or hanging out on the floor playing Legos with my boys, that's not a very hard decision. So what I did was I created not a yes or no, but I created two alternate decisions. You see, because when you say yes to something, you're always saying no to something else, right? And so what I realized was this was not actually yes or no. This was me saying yes to this, and instead of saying yes to this. Now, when somebody comes to me and says, hey, Ed, I'd love to invest in a day of your time. Well, how much is that? That's about $18,000. And they go, great, I'll send you the check. Now it's a different consideration because this is what I do for a living. I love working with entrepreneurs. I love helping you accomplish your mission, but I also like being appropriately compensated for the work that I'm doing. And that's the way we operate here in the United States. You'd never go up to the gas station and pull up into the gas station, fill your tank up, and just tell the dude at the gas station, listen, I know it's like $80, but I'm just not going to pay you today because that would be a very nice thing for you to do. See, they don't operate off of that. That's when they call the police. For example, when you go to the Chase or Bank of America or whatever bank you go to, when you get a check from somebody, it's got all those numbers, the code along the bottom. So you get the check. Let's say someone gives you a check for $5,000. So if I gave you a check for $5,000, what would you do with that check? Let's say I gave you a check. Let's say, Harisha, I gave you a check for $5,000 to help me maybe with some of this nonprofit stuff if I was a nonprofit. Okay, so I give her the check, and she does what with the check? She takes it to the bank, okay? And when they take it to the bank, they take it and run it through that semicircular thing. You know what I'm talking about? Whoosh. And what happens in that process is, say the check says $5,000. They type it into the system, $5,000. They run the check through like that. And what happens is this bank contacts that bank and says, does Ed Rush have $5,000? And then the bank says, yep. And then my $5,000 transfers into her account. Now it's her $5,000. That's the way it works. And what happens is I noticed when I went to Chase and I was giving them checks, I noticed that Chase didn't do this. Okay? So Mr. Rush, this is a check for $5,000, right? Yes, it's a check for $5,000. So what exactly did you do to get this $5,000? Was it a lot of work? Because if it wasn't a lot of work, the machine doesn't work. No, because Chase only really cares about one thing. Does the person have it? Did it transfer? That's all. And I realized, wow, if Chase is thinking about stuff like that, then maybe I shouldn't think about what's nice or not nice. Maybe I should think about what my mission in life is and where that decision fits into the mission in life. So I decided to start putting myself out as a consultant, okay? And so I was doing a local event in San Diego. I was speaking to about 25 people. Do not ever, by the way, despise the day of small beginnings. I was speaking to about 25 people, and a guy came up to me afterwards, my event in San Diego, and he said, hey, my partner and I would like to hire you to do a one-on-one day with me. This is back in 2008. And he said, the next question, what's the next question they always ask? How much is that, okay? And I said, Henry, my normal fee, now, just so you know, I had not done this before. I said, my normal fee is $5,500. But for you, I'll do it for $2,500. And he said, I'll take it. Now, just pause for a moment. What mistake did I make? It's a very simple rule. You say a number, and then what do you do? Shut up. That was a $3,000 sentence. Think about that. That's a $3,000. If I told you, I want you to not say a sentence, and I'll give you another $3,000 for not saying a sentence, you're like, you know, I'm good. I'm not going to say that, whatever the sentence is, okay? So I said 5,500, 2,500. So anyway, so this guy, the client was in Solana Beach. I'm in San Diego, 45-minute drive. And I'm in this old beat-up Ford Windstar, okay? I'm talking like old, like a 10-year-old Windstar. And it was the kind of car that did that even when you weren't turning. You know, one of those cars that like wobbles? And I'm riding this car, and I'm like, I got paid $2,500, $2,500. And I was driving all the way up to this person's house because I was going to deliver this coaching day. I'm getting off the off-ramp, okay? And his house is about a half a mile away. And as I'm off the off-ramp, I can picture this exact off-ramp right in Solana Beach. As I'm getting off the off-ramp, I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for five? I didn't even know the first thing. I didn't know the first step. I literally got paid. I'm like, coaching day, baby. And I'm walking into this thing going, I don't even know what I'm about to do, okay? Now, they wanted to create a product, and they wanted to sell the product from the stage. So I just walked in, and I said, look, I told myself, you don't know what you're doing, but that's okay. Just pretend like you do, okay? So I walked in, and I'm like, hey, guys, just so you know, you're in the right place at the right time, and we're going to dial this thing in for you. So tell me a little bit more about what you want to do. And I actually just asked them questions for about a half an hour. Just tell me more about the product. Who does it help? What kind of problem does it solve? How have you done this in the past? Tell me some of the bonuses. How did you create this? Where is it located? How does it ship to them in the mail? Tell me how you've promoted in the past. Let me see some of yours. I'm just asking enough questions until I had enough questions answered till I'm like, okay, now let's talk about this. We created an order form. We created an entire talk. Those two guys went out about 7 days later on a Saturday morning up in LA, and I actually went and watched them speak. And they sold $189,000 of a product that didn't exist until we created $189,000 in the very first day selling that product. Pretty good first result, right? I'm like, wow, I didn't even know what I was doing, and somehow we got a result, okay? A couple lessons there. First lesson is you don't even need to know what you're doing. You can simply ask enough questions until you do know what you're doing. I'm going to give you some questions in just a little bit, okay? So that whole voice where you're like, I don't even know what recommendations, you'll know what recommendations to give them. You just need to start asking enough questions until you start to get an idea of some of the things that you're going to recommend. Sometimes it's actually in the questions. Dan Sullivan, who's a friend of mine, has over 4,000 one-on-one coaching members. Those people are group coaching members. Those people pay him over $10,000 to be in a group. And Dan Sullivan is the one that says he doesn't have the answers. He just knows the right questions to ask. So sometimes it's in the questions. Second lesson. Say 5,500 and 3% of the gross royalties from everything you sell on your first event. Because if I just said 3%, it would have been like another $5,000, but I didn't say that. So there's another little lesson. I'm going to talk about pricing in just a second. And since that very first day, I went from 2,500 to 5,500 to 5,500 to 10,000. I went from 10,000 to 15,000, 15,000 to 18 over 25, and I told you some of the deals that I've done. I've done 6, 7-figure deals. I've had clients who paid me over $1 million over the life of the work that I've done with them, and it's over 452 at this point one-on-one clients that I work with, okay? So when I first started out, I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to answer their questions or their objections. I didn't know how to price myself, but what I did as I was growing my consulting business is I was taking notes. So for example, when I was on the phone with somebody And they said, how much is a one-on-one day with you? And I go, my one-on-one day normally comes in about $18,000. And then they said, whoa, oh man, that's a little out of my budget. When they said, well, that's a little out of my budget, what I realized there's about 3 to 5 things you can say in that spot right there. And depending on the person, any of those 3 to 5 will work to get them to sign up pretty close to your price. You can drop your price, you can keep your price the same and justify it, you can break it into 2 options, give them an A or B option, make the A option a little bit lower, make the B option the same price, but keep all the good stuff in the B option. I'll go through some of this price stuff in just a second. And I realized there were a whole bunch of different things that you could do. When somebody countered on price, that's called a price objection, counter on price, okay? And there were a whole bunch of different things that you can do to respond, but I just started writing those things down. When they say this, I say this. And then when they say this, I say this. And then when they say this, I say this. Somebody says, is there a guarantee? And I say, well, the first guarantee is if you don't do anything, nothing will happen. This is an implementation program. So when you come into this program, my expectation for you is that you're going to implement the things that I'm going to be teaching you. Now, when you get into implementation, the good news is together we're going to be working together to adjust as things come alongside. So look, I'm not going to leave your side. I'm going to be with you every step of the way to ensure that you're successful. Did you hear how I just said that? Now, is there a guarantee? No. But was there a good answer to the question about the guarantee? Yes. So what I realized is if I just started to figure out how to say some of those things, and I just wrote them down, well, I get that question once, figure out the answer, wrote it down, and then I would always have the answer to that question. Somebody would say, you know, Ed, I'm really interested in this, but I just need to think about it. I just need to, what do they say? Sleep on it. Or if they're married, sometimes they'll go, I just need to go home and bounce this one off my spouse, okay? So when somebody asks that question, most people who are consultants are like, cool, go sleep on it, and then you never hear from the person ever again. And you're like, I sent the proposal, I answered all their questions, and they said I want to sleep on it, and then I let them sleep on it, but man, they have been asleep for a really long time, okay? I've emailed them like 5 times. They're still sleeping apparently, okay? So my experience is a lot of times when somebody says I need to sleep on it, you know what they really are saying to you? You want to guess? No, it's not no. A lot of times when somebody says, hey, I just need to sleep on it. Close. Here's what it is. Did you know that when you say your price, like for example, let's say I say $18,000. Do you know that there's people that eventually will be able to put together $18,000, but they don't have it right now to send to you? And sometimes people need maybe a payment plan, like maybe 10 payments of $1,800, something like that, right? But people don't like to admit that. Because I'm working with some business owner, has some kind of successful business. I'm like, hey, it's $18K. And in their mind, they're like, oh man, we don't have 18,000 liquid dollars. But I can't tell Ed that because I've been telling how great our business is. And so what do they say? Cool, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. So what if I told you there's a way that you can ask another question right after that to get them to admit that they don't have $18,000? Would you be interested in the answer to that question? Yes. It goes like this. Hey, Mike, listen, I totally get that. Sometimes when I make decisions, I need to think about it a little bit and just kind of let the dust settle. So why don't we do this? Go ahead and sleep on it, but before we do that, let's schedule a time tomorrow where we can talk and answer any questions you have. Catch that? So I'm going to schedule a time tomorrow. Second, sometimes when people say to me, I need to sleep on it, what that really means is you might have 1 or 2 questions. And if we answer those 2 questions, you're going to be ready to move forward and start working together. So, anything in your mind? Any questions you have remaining? For example, is it the price? That's how I do it, just like that. Did you catch that? Maybe 1 or 2 questions. Is it the price? Okay, that's kind of how I like warm them up with this 1 or 2 question thing. Is it the price? And here's what they do. 1 or 2 things. They'll be like, no. It's not the price. It's just, we've worked with a lot of consultants before, and the truth is, Ed, some of them didn't quite deliver the way that I thought they were going to. And I know you're the real deal, but I just want to make sure we're making a good decision. Great, now we can talk about the experiences that they had. But now I know that's the objection. But about half the time, they're going to go, yeah, I just, be honest with you, Ed, it's the price right now. I think you're worth it. Problem is, we just don't have that right now. And I know we can probably transfer some things. And I go, well, let me ask you a question. If I was able to put together a little payment option, Would that be helpful for you to get started? That way we can get started now, but we can do some sort of payment thing? Wow, that would be really helpful. So tell me what you think you could do just up front. It's not 18. Could you do 5? Yeah, we could probably do 5. I'll tell you what, why don't we just do this then? Why don't we just do 3 monthly payments of $5K? The last month is 3. That's $18,000, but it's split over 4 months. You already told me, check it out. You already told me you could do 5. You hear that? You already told me you could do 5. So let's do $5,000 this month, $5K next month, $5K the month after that, because you already said you could do that. And then $3K, it's $18K, but it's spread out. How does that work for you? Did you catch that? So I asked the question, and some of you have tried to do deals before where you got to the point of the sleep on it, and then the person disappeared forever. But if you would just ask a simple question, you would have ended up getting the deal. Okay? Is that helpful? If it is, say hoorah. Got about 100 more of those, right where that came from. The idea is you don't have to make this stuff up. Okay? It's all down. I mean, I wrote all this stuff down. It's all written down. By the way, this is not the exact binder, but my binder looks something like this. Sits on my desk. I got it all written down. All the forms, all the scripts, all the agreements, all the objection counters. When people ask this question, I say this. When people ask this question, I say this. When people say this, I say this. How much would this binder be worth to you just in your business right now? Let me ask you a question, seriously. Tens of hundreds of thousands? What if I told you that the minimum deal I'm probably going to teach you is about $5K? And you got one deal based on what was in this book right here. How much would that be worth? At least $5,000. Everything else is yours to keep. Do you see the value? By the way, you don't have to make this stuff up. I wish I knew that. Yesterday I said, what would it be like to go back in a time machine? If I could go back, people always ask, if you could go back and visit anyone in history, who would it be? And people are like, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Genghis Khan, you know? You know who I would visit? Yourself. Me. About 15 years ago, man, I'd be like, all right, dude, sit down. I know this is strange. I know I'm way better looking now than you thought I would be right now. So I would get myself 15 years ago would get that joke, okay? So you might not, but I got it back then, all right? And you know what I would do? I would take this back and I go, sit down. Let me explain some things to you. Right now, you think you can charge $2,500, but you could be charging $20,000. Just pay attention to what I'm going to tell you. Here's how I want you to start doing your business. I would probably be pushing $1 billion at this point if I had that time machine. So if I could create $1 billion business going back into a time machine, how much would it be worth to get into the time machine? How much would I be willing to invest right now? If I could get a loan for $100 million to pay for the time machine, to go back so that now I can come into the future and have $1 billion, that sounds like a really good deal to me. That's the kind of value of this sort of thing. And what I'm going to give you over the next 20 minutes or so is the time machine. Okay? So here's what happened. 2008, I did my first deal, $5K, then $10K, then $15K, and I really dialed in at about $10K. So 2008, 2009, 2010, I started getting a whole bunch of clients, and it was about $10,000. I would charge them either $10K or the payment plan, I think, was like 4 payments of $2,500, something like that. So that was my average deal for about 4 years. And I started to figure this stuff out, started to put it into a manual and started writing it all down so that I had it all figured out. And I thought everybody did this. I didn't realize that was very rare for people to not wing it the entire time. And then in 2012, some of you know Mike Koenig. So in 2012, I did a consulting deal with Mike. Mike is one of the people I just said, remember I said people have paid me I've made over $1 million working with him. I got literally one of the bonuses I got from working with Mike as a consultant into his business was a 33-foot yacht he gave me as a bonus to a promotion that we did. That's how much work we did together. Now, we made about $1 million in a day. That's what I got the bonus for. So it was a good day for him too, okay? It was a good day for everybody. But I was working with Mike, and Mike asked me, he said, hey, this consulting stuff, could you teach this to other people? And I said, yeah, it's just all written down. I know how to position, price, present, pitch, produce. I know how to do all this stuff, so I'll just write it all down, and then we'll just bring some people in. He said, how do you want to do it? I said, just bring like 25, 30 people. We'll put everybody into an event, and I'll just teach it, and we'll just see what happens. So this is back in 2012, okay? So back in 2012, this is the actual group. Some of you watching are in this picture, by the way. That's the actual first group. That was the very first time that I taught this consulting stuff. So this is 2012. There were 28 people back. You remember the old digital cafe? Ben, you remember that? Gary, you guys were, yeah. So that was back at the old digital cafe. And we all sat down, and I taught for I think it was 3 days, actually. I taught all of my stuff, okay? And then we sent everybody out into the world. Now, at the time, we were teaching people how to use online digital marketing. So we were teaching people how to build opt-in pages and how to follow up via email. You were there. I mean, we were teaching people how to help businesses. This is the group that we were talking to. Most of the people on the screen didn't have any consulting experience, but there are some people there who have been consultants for years. Okay, there's a guy on here named Zamira Jones. He's the guy all the way on the left. He had been working with companies like ABC and Disney. So he had been a tie-in consultant for years. So there were some very experienced people in the room, but there were total newbies, okay? There were people who had never, ever done any consulting ever before. I'm going to show you some of them, okay? And what happened was we sent them out into the world. Now, if you have ever created a product, you know the feeling of having something that's valuable, but then you teach it and you're not sure what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know, I hope they're successful, like you're rooting for them, but at the same time, you feel like it's almost like reflecting on you how they do, okay? And so even asking sometimes, how is it working after you create an online course, sometimes that's a hard question to ask, okay? So we sent everybody out, and I'm like, oh man, I hope this works. Like, I know I can do it, and I know it worked for me, but I told everybody you could do this too. And when I said you could do this too, I was like, I hope you can do this too. Like, I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but you don't know. So we sent everybody out. Now, the deals I was teaching them to do were about $5,000 deals, 5 to 10. Essentially, that was the range. We gave people proposals, and I gave them the agreements, everything they need, okay? About a week and a half later, I get an email. The email is from this woman here. Her name is Carolyn Sampson. Carolyn sent us her agreement and her deal. The first deal that someone sent in to me was a $573,000 deal. Not a $5,000 deal. She literally took the number that I taught and just like, whatever, we'll just add 10 times it. And she did a deal, this was over a year, with a doctor. She came into a doctor's office and got paid on retainer to help them with their online marketing. The crazy thing about it was Carolyn told us later on that she wasn't really paying much attention to the actual marketing stuff we were teaching. She was just paying attention to the consulting stuff that we were teaching. So she actually came back into the office right after that to learn all of the things that she just got paid $74,000 to deliver. After she sold the thing and then learned the things after she sold the things, the doctor looked at her and said, I don't think I'm paying you enough. Think about that for a second. She didn't go, oh, but I need to go learn this. Here's my checklist of things that I need to do. She found someone who had a problem. She told them, I'm going to solve your problem. She didn't know how she was going to solve the problem, but she went and learned how to solve the problem. And in the process, she got paid and she learned. She got paid to learn. That was Carolyn, okay? So here's what we did after that. We sent out a survey, which is terrifying to do, okay? I'm going to tell you, it's terrifying, okay? So about 2-3 months after, we sent out a survey. And the survey said, how did you do? How did things go? We actually had one class and another, so we had our second class already through. And we just said, how are things going? How long did it take till you close the deal? How much did you make the money? How much did you close? When you closed the deal, what did you deliver? We just asked a set of questions. And we sent the survey out, and I was like, I don't even want to know, okay? Because what you're worried about, at this point, we had a little over 50 people who had gone through the training. What you're worried about is Carolyn's the only story. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know that voice where you're like, gosh, man, it's like, there's only one. That's it. It's 1 out of 50-something that came back, okay? When we got the survey back, here's what we saw. 80, there we go. Hold on. This is what we got. Boom. Okay? All of a sudden, we started getting emails. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? 87.4% of the people who had come through the training that answered our survey said that they had closed a significant deal within 2 months of taking the training, and half of that 87.4% had closed a significant deal within 2 weeks of taking the training. These are regular people. Most of them weren't consultants. Here are some of their stories, by the way. Megan Fitzgerald and Merrick Glorfield together teamed up. By the way, some of you will do this. Some of you will team up at an event like this. What we found, interestingly, is some people are very good at doing deals, and some people are very good at delivering the part of the deal. So we found at events like this, sometimes people would team up. So they teamed up. The first deal was an $85,000 deal for a 1-year agreement. The second deal was $55,000. Pat Zemer went on to create a 7-figure business doing what we're talking about right now. Pat told the story about how 1 year, you guys remember this story? 1 year, Pat didn't have enough money to have a turkey at Thanksgiving. He was living in a trailer home with his wife, Dee Dee, and so they took a chicken and cooked the chicken, and chicken was their turkey dinner at Thanksgiving. Pat took the stuff and went off and built a 7-figure business around a product that he has called MagnaWave. He worked with thoroughbred horses. This is not business marketing. This is horses. Rob Cuesta, some of you know Rob. Rob had no business, became a consultant, helping people write and market books. His very first deal was a $5,000 deal. Some of you know that Rob is now partnered with Bill Glazer. Rob's making way more than $5,000, I can tell you that much. He's in mid-six-figure range, marketing as a marketing consultant to one of the best marketers in the world. Some of you know Bill Glazer is one of the best marketers in the world. Rob Cuesta is his full-time marketing consultant. Just goes to show that you don't need to know more than the person you're working with. Sometimes they just want a second opinion. Some of you know Kendra Dixon. Very first deal she did was $10,000. Then she did a 5-figure month. Then she did a 6-figure month. Now she is partnered with one of the biggest real estate marketing coaches in the world. And she works as his full-time marketing consultant, as an outside contractor. She never had done this before she came to the training. Zamira Jones, who I told you had been working in radio broadcasting for years, went out and worked with some of the biggest companies in the world. First deal was a $12,000 deal, and then went on to do another $38,950 in 60 days. Ian Bosler, $37,000 deal. So the question is, you ever heard of the 80-20 rule? You know 20% of the people don't become successful, 20% of the people do, 80% don't? 20% of the people are in good shape, 80% aren't, 20% of the people. We flipped the whole thing. Over 80% of the people that responded back to us had success, and less than 20% didn't. And by the way, the people who responded, of the 20% of the people that were in that 20%, many of them said, hey, I just came to the training because I just wanted to come to the training. I had no plans to even be a consultant. They just wanted to learn the stuff so that they could do it in their own business. It was crazy. Okay, so the whole point of what I just showed you is 2 things. Number 1, what I'm teaching you works on planet Earth. It works, okay? The second thing is this is meta. Remember yesterday, I said you need to have a transformational stories of people that you've worked with. And you may have come into this presentation that I'm giving you like, I don't know, Ed. I mean, I know it's worked for you. But I don't know. I'm not you. I wasn't a fighter pilot, I don't do these events. I mean, I know it worked for you, but it probably won't work for me. And let me ask you a fully transparent question. After hearing some of the stories that came in, are you thinking a little bit more like, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, that's the idea, okay? Because the last thing I want to do is give you a whole bunch of strategies that you write down on a notepad, and then as you're leaving, you're like, but this won't work for me. What I want you to look at and be like, shoot, man, if Carolyn Sampson, this is what I want you to say to yourself, if Carolyn Sampson can do that, I could probably do it too. Because you can. Because to be a great consultant that gets paid a lot of money, you know what you need? It's 2 things. Grab a pen. If all you get at this event is these 2 things and leave, you're good. Number 1, you need the desire and the willingness to help people. Number 2, you need the willingness to ask for the sale. If you have the desire and the willingness to help people, then you're going to be there to solve their problems, which fundamentally is what consulting is. It's nothing more than helping someone solve a problem. And the examples I've been giving you so far are business examples, but I have thousands of students at this point. I've been teaching this stuff since 2012. I have thousands of students, and I can tell you they're from all walks of life and all businesses. I've got people, right now, I just did a consulting day last week with a guy who's a fitness professional. He teaches people how to get in shape. He doesn't show up at their house anymore. Almost all of his stuff is delivered online, but he does consulting deals with them that are $997. That guy will have about 500 clients by the end of the year. How much is 500 times 997? That's almost $500,000. You're going to see him. I'm going to do an interview with him in the next couple weeks. Okay, some of you know him. His name's David Zetz. He's on EdTalks Live all the time. Okay, that's an example of consulting in the fitness world. I have people that come alongside of people and help them with their nutrition. That's what they get paid to do. I have people who come alongside of couples and help them with their relationship. I have people who come alongside parents to help them with their kids. I have people who come alongside kids to help them with their parents and their retirement. Okay, so don't be saying, oh, but Ed, you're talking about business. I'm talking about business stuff, but now I'm talking about everything, because you need to have the desire and willingness to what? Help people. I didn't say help businesses. It does work well if you do it for businesses, to help people. And the second thing is really important. You have to have the what? Willingness to ask for the sale, because most consultants are what I call nonprofit consultants. That's not you. It's a different kind of nonprofit. You know what I'm talking about? Like, most consultants get all the way to the part, like you're in high school and you're like, man, I'm going to ask that girl out. And I know half of you are women, and you're like, okay, but still. Either way, you know what I mean? And you're like, I think I'm going to ask her out. But you know what you have to do? You need to ask. Hey, I'd like to dance this week. I mean, I know it wasn't very cool the way you did it, but you asked. I mean, some of you are married because you asked. I mean, you kind of have to have the conversation at some point, So what if I told you that asking for the sale is as easy as saying, so you ready to get started working together? Because that's the way I do it. I'm going to get on the phone, talk about the deal, and then I say, so you ready to get started working together? And then they either say yes, or they say what? They never say no. Did you know that, by the way? They never, ever, ever, ever say no. For real, anybody who's in the consulting world, you know, you never go, so are you ready to get started working together? And they're like, nope. Nobody ever says that, because they always want to make you feel, it would be better if they said no. Honestly, it would be better if they were just like, no, and then now you don't have to follow up with them in email and text. I would just be like, look, if it's no, just tell me, please. Okay, they're always like, let me think about it a little bit, okay? So they're either going to say yes, or they're going to give you an answer that's not yes. And an answer that's not yes is called an objection in the sales world. It's nothing more than a question. And when you answer the question, then you say, so are you ready to get started working together? And then they say yes, and then you get paid. Or they ask another question, and then you answer the question, and then you say, so are you ready to get started working together? Okay, now some of you have seen old school sales trainers with all the NLP stuff. They're like, if the person crosses their arms, you cross your arms. And if the person leans back, you lean back. And then mirroring and matching. And you ever had someone doing that to you? And you're like, whoa. Hey, just sit there, dude. Let's talk. I don't need you to, you know what I'm saying? We're good, okay? So you ever had one of those old school NLP people? Well, guess what? All that stuff went flying out the window about 10 years ago. And there's people out there still teaching all that stuff. Hardcore closing. So shouldn't I, would I, could I? All this other stuff that they're teaching. And you're like, no. You know what you say? So are you ready to get started working together? How simple is that? I mean, for real, can you just say that? Gary Rush's been saying that for 20 years now. So are you ready to get started working together? Yeah. Great. Here, I'm going to send you the proposal, the agreement. You can send me the money. We can get started now. That's about how easy that is, okay? Don't make it complicated. By the way, I totally forgot about the gifts. How many of you want bonus gifts? I mentioned this on the first day. I should do this because Meredith put this up here. All right, let me show you what I got. I got these cool camouflage backpacks. I got 20 of these. See these guys? This is when I go off to do my, when I go down to Starbucks, I go in stealth mode, got my backpack on with my thing in there, come in there to work on connecting with my market, and then I come back out. But we've got 20 of these bags. This, by the way, is my favorite journal on planet Earth. This is the British Tan Leather Journal from Barnes & Noble. Get it now, because Barnes & Noble's days are numbered. You and I both know that. That's in one of the bags. One of the bags has a Yeti Nano microphone. All right, somebody's going to get that. Who wants that one? All right. One of these bags has, there's only about 15 of these left. I made these for a training about 15 years ago. One of these bags has a cool edrush.com mug. One of these bags, all right. This is every one of these bags has something in it, all right. This is a gift card to Amazon. That's a $500 gift card to Amazon. One of those bags has that. Another one has a $200 gift card. $100 gift. There's at least 5 bags with $100 gift cards, okay? So y'all can come up and grab these whenever you want to. All right, so we're going to be giving some stuff away. And I know you're on Zoom. What's that? You just hang. We're almost there. And I know on Zoom, you just said to yourself, oh, wait a second. I got, Ed just said bags, and they're in the back. But I got some for you too, okay? So there's 5 in the back for some of you, and there's 5 in the back for you too, all right? So we're going to play equal opportunities for the live attendees in Zoom, okay? We got bags ready to go to send them to you in the mail. So you'll see in just a moment who said thank you. That's Linda. All right, good to go. All right, so grab your pen. We're going to move fast now, all right? So I'm going to just tell you some of the myths that you've been led to believe about coaching and consulting. And the reason I have to tell you these myths is because this is stuff that's been in your head that we're going to get rid of really quickly. Then I'm going to give you a checklist. And the checklist is everything you need to start getting paid now. Did I say next week? No. Next month? How to start getting paid now, okay? Some things you can do, all right? So you should be able to walk out of here, start implementing. I'm going to give you some more training resources that you can do if you want to go a little bit further. But at the very least, you should have the tools to start when? Now, okay? So I did a consulting training 4 years ago. Some of you have seen this video. It's still online on YouTube. Ken Okazaki signed up for the training. The training was 2 months away. So let's say it was January. He signed up for the training. The training was in March because he was going to come to my consulting training. And he said, Ed said to do the thing about when would now be a great, so when, how does it go? So are you ready to get started working together? And Ken closed a $5,000 deal before the training. I had people in the training closing deals. He did it a month before the training. So just saying, you'd be amazed at the things that you can do when you set your mind to it. Okay? First one is, I don't know how to start. People are like, hey, I don't even know where I should start. And I just gave you the place to start. A desire and a willingness to help people and the willingness to ask for the sale. Okay? You can do this in any genre. My experience is that some of the most lucrative consulting models, I'll give you a few. I'll give you 5. One of the most lucrative consulting models is helping people write and launch books. How many of you have a book? Raise your hand. Stick it up. Stick it up on Zoom. Let me see. How many of you have a book? If you've written a book, people think you are amazing. And if you can help someone do that, you can get paid really well. I have students of mine who get paid anywhere between $5,000 and $40,000. Jim House gets paid $40,000 to help people write and launch books. Okay? Another one is helping people market online. If you can help people market, create products, that sort of thing, you can get paid really well. And you're like, Ed, but I don't know how to do that. Yes, you do. Did you just hear what she just taught you? Yes. You do. Do you know it? Do you know how to create the first module? Yeah. What do you put in the first module? You talk about yourself. You tell them how to get started. You tell them how to consume the product. Look, I was paying attention. Okay? Do you think you can actually charge someone to do that now? You can. Stop saying you can't. People are like, dude, I didn't even know what to put in the first module. Now you do. Okay? Videos are another one, helping people create videos. Live streaming. Man, if you can help somebody live stream, Ed, I don't know how to live stream. Yes, you do. Look, go back to the videos. I taught it. Go back, watch it, help someone. 5th one is called what I call strategic advisor. It's my favorite one. That's where you give someone advice, and they do it. That's what I do. When somebody comes to me, I say, do this. This will work, and then they do it. But I'm not like sitting there building the website. Strategic advisor. And you can fill in the blanks with any other business model. You can do this for attorneys. We were talking about that. Helping attorneys get what they want. Francine Tone, same thing, Francine. Helping with female attorneys. You figure out where to start. Yes?
How about as a CPA?
Yes. Helping other CPAs or helping people with their... Yeah. So one of the things, so she said, how about as a CPA? Yes. You know where you start? What's the problem? Solve the problem. Okay? So there's Jim. Jim's up to $40,000 now for book deals. Gary Rush. Gary's one of the original, that was back in author expert marketing. I've done 4 iterations of a consulting product, by the way. This is back in iteration number 1, my man. $500 an hour. By the way, if you're charging $500 an hour, you know what that is per week? 5 times 8 is what? $4,000 a day, $16,000 a week. How many of you would like to be making $16,000 a week? If you do, say hoorah. Okay? All right, number 2. People say, okay, but Ed, I'm not an expert. Remember what I told you. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And that you need 2 things. The desire to help people and something that exceeds whatever they pay you. So here's the thing. This bottom line is really important. You can learn the rest in implementation. I've worked with a lot of different businesses that I knew nothing about. And sure enough, the light bulbs turned on for us and for them, even in the process of implementation. I already told you I work with Mike Koenigs. He hired me to help him with digital marketing. When Mike hired me, a year before Mike hired me, he did a product launch that made over $10 million in a single week. He made over $2 million in a single day. And a year later, he hired me to help him with a product launch. Now, wait a second. Shouldn't I have hired him? I mean, he was way better at it than me. No, he was looking for a second opinion. John Assaraf hired me to help him with a thing called Brainathon. At that point, John was doing $1 million days with Brainathon, Saturday webinars. But you know what? John Assaraf is the kind of person who wants the smallest advantage. Like, you know, people who play golf, they're trying to just get like 2 strokes off. John is a 2-stroke off kind of guy. He's running a 4-minute mile. He wants to run a 3-minute and 50-second mile. So if he could hire me to help him just get a little bit better, he would do that. Brian Tracy hired me to help him with his speaking. You seen Brian Tracy speak? He's a world-class. Dude's charging $30,000 to $40,000 for a keynote fee. And he hired me? A crazy thing, too, by the way. Brian, when I came in, Brian had like a whole team sitting there taking notes. And he said, so what should we do about this? And I said, here's what I want you to do, Brian. I want you to stand up on stage. He brought up somebody up on stage. It was like a testimonial. I said, Brian, I want you to stand up. I want you to put your arm around this person, and I want you to ask them 4 questions. And the 4 questions are this question, this question, this question, and this question. And his assistant goes, Ed, would you email those questions to us? And Brian goes, Felicia, Ed doesn't need to email the thing. His time is valuable. Ed, I got it. I'm like, this is good to go. Okay, so the next week I went to his event. I was sitting in the back. Brian walks up on stage, brings the person up, puts his arm around him. Question number 1, boom. Question number 2, and I'm like, oh, this is good, man. I'm watching him do my thing, okay? And they ended up closing 6 figures of sales that day, partly because of what I taught Brian Tracy, and partly because Brian Tracy did what I told him to do. You know? Now, I could have walked in there, oh, Mr. Tracy, I'm unworthy of being, but I walked in there and said, here's what I want you to do. Put your arm around him. Do this, and do this, and do this, and do this. Now, you want to know a secret? Yep. So the things I told him were like legit good strategies, okay? So don't get me wrong when I'm about to tell you this. Sometimes what someone wants is just a little certainty. So sometimes you could just say, put your arm around somebody and say these 4 questions, and you could just make up 4 questions. But them doing the 4 questions, because they're implementing what you're telling them to do, is the certainty that they actually needed in the first place. Sometimes your coaching for somebody is giving them the little push that they kind of needed. Do you ever have that before where you're like, you know the answer for someone else, but you don't know the answer for yourself? That's because sometimes you just need a little certainty. Sometimes that's what great coaches do. Okay? Remember Carolyn, who wasn't an expert, but I'll tell you what she was an expert at. Carolyn was an expert at saying, so are you ready to get started working together? That was her expertise, okay? So make your expertise, so are you ready to get started working together? Make that your expertise, and then figure everything else out. By the way, if I gave you a check for $10,000, and I said, I want you to help me launch my next book, but you don't know anything about books, and I said, a week from now, we're going to meet, and you're going to help me with my book. In the week, would you figure some stuff out? Yes. You would come to me like, Ed, I don't know if you know about this. I got this new thing. Check this out. Amazon. You figure it all out in a week because $10,000 has the tendency to make that happen for you. Okay? So go get paid. Go get paid. Myth number 3. Yep, Ed, I need money now. One of the biggest questions I get, people at events go, hey, what's the fastest way for me to make money now? Here's what I say. Go get someone to pay you for something. Go learn it and then deliver it. And you can get paid now. So some of you are like, I need $10,000 right now. Go get someone to pay you $10,000. Or go get 4 people to pay you $2,500. What are they going to pay you for? What they need. Solving a problem for them. How do you know what their problem is? How do you know what their problem is? Write this down. What are the 3 biggest challenges you're having right now with regard to, and then fill in the blanks? What are the 3 biggest challenges you're having right now to getting speaking deals? What are the 3 biggest challenges you're having right now getting new leads in your business? What are the 3 biggest challenges you're having right now with your health? What are the 3 biggest challenges you're having right now with your nutrition? What are the 3 biggest challenges you're having right now in your relationships? Then, when you ask that question, what do? Stop talking. And you listen. And you write down what they say. And then when you offer them the results of your coaching or consulting program, you tell them the main things we're going to be focusing on are, and then you say the first thing, and then the second thing, and then the third thing. If they go, Ed, I feel like I'm out of energy. And Ed, I don't feel like I'm eating right. And Ed, I want a workout routine that's easy for me to do in my schedule. Well, then about an hour later, you're like, by the way, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get you feeling better. And the second thing we're going to do is get you eating right. And the third thing we're going to do is create a workout program that fits your schedule. And then they go, that's for me. And they say that's for me because that's what they said they wanted. Okay? Stop making this hard. Ask the question. Give them the answer to the question. And if you go, I don't know how to do the answer to the question, figure it out. And if you don't want to figure it out, you know what you do? Close the deal anyway. Find someone else who knows how to do it. Partner with them. Give them half the money. You keep half the money. They deliver. People do that. Okay? Hey, I'm going to be partnering with my friend Mike, who's one of my best fitness experts. And together, we're going to show you how to get yourself feeling better, how to get yourself in shape. Stop telling yourself why you can't do stuff. Get paid and go figure it out. Number 4. Woo, man, I don't know about you. We're down. This is big, okay? So, some of you know John Cody. First deal, $12K. Ed, I don't like to sell. I don't know how to close. Well, that's good, because I don't like to sell either. Because selling is about something that people did in the 80s. What did I say you need the desire to? Sell? Consulting is helping people. Stop thinking about it like selling. Start looking at it as an opportunity for them to change their lives, their business, or whatever. You're just giving them the result that they want. And by the way, some of you just said this to yourself because you keep telling yourself why you can't do something, okay? Because I said you're going to give them the result that they want. And some of you are like, oh, what if I don't? Well, then you keep working with them until they get the result. So let's say your consulting program is supposed to go for 3 months. And in 3 months, they're going to be in great shape. They're going to be eating well. But after 3 months, they're like 60% of the way there. What are you going to do? Just keep working with them. You know what I'm saying? Stop telling yourself, what if this happens? And what if this happens? Cross that bridge when you come to it. You'll be fine. I've had coaching members that I gave a little bit extra time to. You know, some big life situation happened to them. We started building this business together. Things were going great. 8 months into it, their business partner disappeared, took all the money. And now this is my coaching client that I'm working with. And we had built something great together, but now it's gone. And they had paid me 8 months ago. And we had 4 months left. So we rescheduled some things. I said, hey, I know we only had one coaching day that you paid for, but come to San Diego. We're going to dial this in. Then I started working with them. At 12 months, when the contract ended, was I like, see you later? No. You know why? Because I care about the people that I work with. So month 13, month 14, we're on the phone talking together, working through it. And that's what you would do too. Right? So stop being like, Ed, what happens if they don't get a result? If they don't, keep working with them until they do. Keep bringing resources in until they do. Life happens, you know what I'm saying? You could be working with a brick and mortar business back in February, and then they have to close, and you're like, what happens if they don't get a result? Stick with them. Show them how to get online. Okay? Just change. Change with them. Are you glad you came? If you are, say hoorah. Myth number 5. Ed, is this just trading dollars for hours? Yes, it is. Because everything's trading dollars for hours. You talk to people who are like, I just make my money work for me. What do you mean by that? I invest in the stock market. How much time do you spend a day doing that? 6, 8 hours? So you're trading dollars for hours is what you're saying? Yep. Everything. You find me somebody who's not trading dollars for hours. Everything's $1 for hour. Here's the difference. How much dollars for how much hours? That's the question you should be asking. And when people sign up to work with you, you know what they're not asking? How much time do I get with you? You know what they are asking? What are they asking? What's the result? Like when they work with Bill, Bill's like, I'm going to show you how to overcome this cancer. I don't care where you're at. I'm going to walk with you along this way. And by the time you're done, you're going to be in great shape, feeling great, cancer-free. They don't go, for real, well, how much time do I get, Bill? Because if you don't give me enough time, no. All they want is the result. It's not the time. And if people are asking about the time, it's because you sold yourself as the time. It's not about the time, it's about the result. You'll notice yesterday when I did the coaching offer, I talked a little bit about the time, but not much. I talked about the result. Okay? I'm going to move quickly through this, and then we're going to wrap it up. 8 things you want in your toolkit. When you have all 8, you're making a lot of money, and you're helping a lot of people. Okay? So this is it. Number 1, you need to have a positioning strategy. Because people don't wait in a long line to meet the guru, where? At the bottom of the mountain. So you have been at this event long enough to understand what I mean by positioning. This is you being perceived as an expert or an authority in your field. So give me some examples of some tools that you can use to position yourself as an expert. A book. It's my favorite one, by the way, a book. But if you don't have a book, and maybe you're going to write a book, give me some other examples.
Doing a live stream.
Doing a live stream, which you could do today. Like for real, you could go like Gary right here. He helps business owners transform, okay? And he helps them stay accountable. Could you walk out into the parking lot, go live, interview Gary for 10 minutes about some of the strategies that he uses? Yes. Could you grab Roy, say, hey, Roy, let's talk a little bit about this. Could you do an interview? Hang on, just hang on, because I got to move, okay? You can do that now. That's positioning. What your website looks like, that's positioning. What your social media looks like, that's positioning. Social media posts, that's positioning. How people talk about you, that's positioning. Like you've got some really great people who've said some really great things about you. That's positioning. When somebody like Tony Robbins says something great about Gary, people are like, dang, that's positioning. And there's positioning tools available all over the place to you. All that is somebody walking next to their wife and saying, hey, I think I'm going to work with this guy. Well, tell me about him. Well, look, here's the best-selling book. There's the website. Oh, cool. Yep, he knows what he's talking about. Number 1 is a positioning tool. Okay? Where are we at? Maybe I killed my remote. Hang on. Should we just wrap it up? I mean, I only have 7 more, so should we just call it a day? I could do this next week. Should we just keep going? What did you say? I'm killing you? I hope that means that it's like a good killing you. Okay, good. All right. Number 2. I have to do this fast, okay? Number 2, you need a pricing strategy. 6 ways to price. I'm going to do this quick. There's a fee. You getting paid to do something. $5,000 to do this. $997 for this fitness program. That's a fee, okay? Number 2 is monthly. Do you know the difference between the fee and the monthly? 2 words. Do you know what those 2 words are? A month. How much is it? $997 a month. So I had a client. I learned this lesson, but when I learn the lesson, I don't forget. So I had a client, and I said they came in. Y'all know this person, okay? I was helping them launch a product. It wasn't Mike. It was someone else, okay? And she sat down with me, and I wanted to do. What I wanted out of the deal was $10,000. That was my goal out of the deal. And she said, well, what do you think about the fee? And I said, I really want to work with you, so let's just talk a little bit about it. What'd you have in mind? That's all I said. I said, what'd you have in mind? And she said, we were thinking about $12,000. And I said, hey, I wanted 10. That's 12. That's an extra $2,000. I don't know about you, but I'll take the extra $2,000 because this is $2,000 more. That's okay with me. So she said, we were thinking about $12,000 a month for the next 5 months. and I, you know how you're like, you can't be, oh my gosh, for real? Oh man. See, I thought you were going to say like 10. Whew, that is a lot. I'll take it, but you can't do that, right? So I said, I was like, oh, so you have to get used to this. As a consultant, here's what you have to get used to. These are called humps, all right? You have to get used to this. catch it? Okay. So 12, 3, 5. Okay. All right. I think we could do that. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be. That's how you do it. Did you catch that? When they tell you a number, that was a $10,000 that turned into 60. I actually got a percentage. I think I got 12%, if I remember correctly, of the net on that product launch, which put that into six-figure range. Okay. When you get a number that's higher than you hump for a little while. You look up like you're like thinking about something other than like, dude, I'm gonna buy that car. No, I'm definitely gonna buy that car. Definitely gonna do that vacation I was thinking about too. Yeah, that'll work. That's how you do it. Just look like you're thinking through the numbers, okay? So monthly is another one. Not every deal turns into a monthly deal, okay? Sometimes you do this in payments, by the way, okay? Fee, monthly. Number 3 is a percentage. So maybe somebody's gonna be launching a product, you get a percentage. The only thing that you gotta be careful about is, let's say you get 50%, which sounds great, right? But 50% of 0 is what? Doesn't matter what the number is before the percentage. If it's 0, it's 0. Okay, so sometimes you'll have these broke, dysfunctional business people who are like, there will be no money, but I'm going to give you 150% of everything we create. And you're like, you know? By the way, sometimes the higher the percentage people offer you, the less you know they're gonna do it, all right? So that's why I started doing a fee plus a percentage. And actually, the first person I did that with was Brian Tracy. It was back in like 2010. They wanted to give me 7.5% of the product that we created together and he started selling together. It was a brand new course that they wanted to create and they said, hey, we're gonna give you 7.5%. And I said, okay, how about we do this? Why don't you pay me $7,500 now? And the first $100,000 is yours to keep. Here's what this means. You pay me $7,500, but that's an advance on commissions. So the first $100,000, they would have paid me what? $7,500. So you don't pay me out of the first 100K. Once we cross over 100K, I start getting 7.5. And the $7,500 is your assurance that if for some reason they decide not to do what you're teaching them to do, then you at least got paid. Okay, so I don't do this one, I do this one. But I usually make it an advance on commissions, but I keep it no matter whether there's any 100K or not, okay? Number 5 is ownership. Sometimes people offer you ownership of a company. Again, percentage of 0 is 0, but sometimes you have a real company. Like sometimes what I'll do is I'll do a percentage on the growth, right? So my high-end coaching program, the one I told you about yesterday, 25K up front. Then it's 5% of the growth of the company up to $50,000. So if they go from $1 million to $2 million, I have a client she's on her way to do this. She's gonna have paid me another $50,000, which is 5% of an extra $1 million. And then after that, she keeps everything. So I'm not an owner forever, I'm an owner for some growth, okay? There's another model for you. And then model number 6 is trade. And I've only done this on very rare occasions, only when I really have something that I want coming back from somebody who's got something really good. Like if somebody's gonna put me in front of their audience at an event and there's 200 people at the event and I can sell and keep everything that I want if in exchange for me coming in and helping them for a day, I'll probably talk about that because I know I can go into an event and pull $30,000, $50,000 out of one talk, okay? So if that's kind of trade, I'm interested. But for the most part, people are like, hey, Ed, why don't we do this? See, I own a dry cleaning shop, so why don't we do this? You do some coaching for me, and I'll give you free dry cleaning for the rest of your life, okay? Now, remember what I said about Chase Bank? See, here's the way Chase works. Like if they have your mortgage, every month you do what? You pay your mortgage, right? So could you call up Chase, go through the customer service tree and be like, hey, what's up, Chase? Ed Rush, edrush.com. All right, so check it out. I know I owe you some money for the mortgage this month. I don't have it all, but what I do have is a lifetime supply of dry cleaning. How about if I give you the dry cleaning in exchange for the mortgage this month? Does Chase operate that way? How does Chase operate? What do they use as a currency? Currency, okay? So if you're going to do business with somebody, say, hey, listen, how about this? I will do the consulting and you'll pay me my rates. And then when I bring you my dry cleaning, I'll pay you your rates. That way we both get what we want, okay? So I don't do this unless, like I said, unless for real. I can see the value for sure coming back and it's intangible value, okay? Is that helpful? If it is, say hoorah. Hoorah. Way more where that came from, okay? I told you these already. Presenting. There's 5 P's, by the way. Price, what's the first one? Position. What's the second one? price. Third one's present. Fourth one's pitch. Fifth one's produce. I'm going to get there. Presenting. Presenting is the part where you're talking to someone before they said yes to you. So it's all the questions that they're asking. It's all the questions that you're asking. My experience is that most consultants do this. People are like, so tell me about what you do. And then the consultant spends like 30 minutes explaining how amazing they are. And they don't even want to know that. Because when they say to you, tell me about what you do, who are they actually asking about? They're asking about themselves. They're not asking about you. Okay, so I ask them questions. So tell me a little bit more about your business. What problem do you solve? What are you doing to get leads? What would you like to be doing to get leads? What are you doing to get customers? What would you like to be doing to get customers? What are the 3 biggest challenges you're having in your company right now about getting customers? If I could wave a magic wand and make 1 or 2 things in your company go completely away, 1 or 2 problems, what would they be? I love that question, by the way. If I could wave a magic wand and make 1 or 2 or 3 problems go away, what would those problems be? My answer to, hey, tell me more about what you do, Ed, is me asking them a whole series of questions. Because when you start asking questions, their eyes are going to light up, and they're going to forget about you for a while. They're going to start talking about themselves. They're going to start talking about the result, and then you just build a consulting program simply around the result that they want. You don't have to talk about yourself at all, in fact. You just start talking about the thing that you're going to get. They're going to get. In fact, they don't even care most of the time. I'm going to meet with you for a day, and then we're going to do another half day, and then we're going to do this, and then you're going to have this number of phone calls. People don't care. People don't sign up with me because they get calls. That's why yesterday I'm like, look, if you need a call, do a call. Because it doesn't actually matter to me or to them. That's not what they sign up for. They're like, Ed, I'm here, and I want to be here. Okay, that's the result that you're selling. You with me on that? If you are, say hoorah. Hoorah. I'm having fun. I hope you are too. Okay, number 4 is the pitch. And I love that word, and I know some people are like, I don't like the word pitch, but I do. It's millions of dollars worth of revenue from that word. Because pitching is what? What is pitching? Pitching is nothing more than, so, are you ready to get started working together? Okay? Pitching is nothing more than offering someone an opportunity to get better. Pitching is nothing more than offering someone an opportunity to get some results. Some of you are working with Jonathan Sprinkles here at lunch, and you made a great decision. You weren't like, man, can't believe you pitched to me on something. You're like, thank you for pitching me on something. Y'all are here at Big Pivot because you got pitched by me to come. Are you glad you came? If you are, say hoorah. Hoorah. Do you see how amazing that is? You get what you want. I get what I want. The team, everybody gets what they want. It's all because we all did that. Welcome to the free market economy. Okay? If you don't ask, something really bad happens. Nothing. Zig Ziglar said, timid salespeople have what? Skinny kids, okay? All you're doing is just putting money on the table. This is what you do. That's what you do. Now, there are 2 ways to offer things. There is one-to-one, I already said most effective, and then there's one-to-many. And you've seen me do both models, right? So yesterday, I said, hey, for those of you who want to do coaching, and for those of you who decided to do coaching with me, you made a great decision. So now I'm going to be on with the phone with you for one-on-one, right? So I did one-to-many, cast a big net, got the folks who are interested, and now we're going to talk on the phone. So that's a way to do this. And if you want to get a deal right now, I can't even believe I'm going to teach you this. I'm going to do this super quick. It's on recording. If you want to do a deal right now, watch this. Let's say you just decided in my talk right now you're a book marketing consultant. You don't have to be. I'm just using this as an example. You could be a fitness consultant. It doesn't matter to me. But let's say you decided you're a book marketing consultant. You pick up your phone, scroll through the contacts. When you find someone that you know needs to write a book, it goes like this. Hey, John, I don't know if you know this, but I just started a business where I help people write and launch books. I know you've been thinking about writing a book, so why don't we jump on the phone this week? We'll put a little deal together, and then we can get this done for you. Okay? Now, the way I scripted that is actually very important. And there's more of this where it came from too, but when I said what I said in the text, what does the person on the other end know? Because people are always like, hey, what about my friends? Do my friends even know that I'm going to charge them money? But if I say, I just launched a business, helping people write and launch books. I know you need to do a book, and let's get together, maybe do a deal together to get this done for you. What does the person on the other end know? It's money. I just said, I have a business, and let's do a deal. So when they respond, oh, man, I'm super interested in that. let's talk. They know you're going to charge them something. How much you charge them, that's up to you. How you set that up, there's some things you can say, by the way, after that will set the price up the way it is. Because you can do this with John, and he can come and you could be at $5,000 and he could think it's like $500. And if you say $5,000 and he thinks it's $500, he will look at you like you just killed his firstborn son, okay? Did you ever do that where somebody thinks it's 500 and it's 5,000 and you say 5,000 and they're like their body starts shaking, okay? So there are some things you can say after that to start setting up the price. You don't have to tell them the price, but you can start setting up the price. There's other things that you can do, but if you just sent that message out today to 10 people, you will have a deal by the end of the week. And you're like, but Ed, I don't know how to do book marketing. I don't care. And they don't either. They do. Eventually, you need to figure it out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, eventually, you got to help them, okay? But could you charge them $5,000? Find somebody that I just put on the screen who does book marketing, pay them $2,500 to teach you how to deliver it. You keep the $2,500, and your client doesn't know that you learned it from someone else. Who cares? You just got paid, okay? Remember, what was it? Mark Twain's book, the one kid got paid to paint the fence and then had everybody else come and pay him to paint the fence. So Tom Sawyer, he got money coming in both ways. All right? Man, I'm having fun. Are you having fun? Yeah. This is good. I've been waiting for this all day. Number 5, I said it was a P. It's actually produce. Great delivery and follow-up plan. When does the marketing stop? So remember Marquetta when she taught? She said, what's the first module really about? Selling them on why they signed up. So you need to have the marketing still embedded in your delivery. You need to understand how to ask for a referral. You need to know how to ask for a review or a testimonial. You need to ask for follow-on business. Okay, that's all part of the business of being a great consultant. Number 6, the exact fail-proof formula for generating interest. I like this. With the formulaic certainty of a McDonald's franchise. That text message I just gave you is an example. So like this manual that I told you about, that's full of all this stuff. I have a coaching client, he just sent me a screenshot of all 5 of his text messages. He's using the system. Copy and paste, put it in, generate interest. Theoretically, if you took the text message I just gave you, hey John, I don't know if you know this or not, but I just launched a business. Let's get together, do a deal. If you sent that to 10 people, do you think you would get some money out of that? Yes. You for sure would. That's what the lady did at my event that I helped her text and close it. She sent it. She did it while I was teaching, which I always tell, don't text while I'm teaching. You know what I'm saying? But she broke that rule and got paid like $5,000 to break my rule. Okay, because she sent it in the middle of the thing. That's why she jumped. She sent the thing that I said, and then the person replied, "Whoa, that would be awesome." And she goes, "Huh." And next thing you know, I'm working with her in the room to be able to do that. That was that message. That's the kind of formula that you want to do. And you can just make stuff up. Remember I told you on day 1 the story about me in the cockpit? I said you could just make some stuff up, kick the rudders, pull the stick back and forth, or you could follow the formula. Well, look, I've done this a lot, okay? 450 plus clients. And to get 450 plus clients, I was probably in front of 40,000 people or what, I don't know the number, 400,000 people, a lot of people. It's probably about 4,000 conversations or something like that. It was a lot of conversations. There's a lot of training. There's a lot of things that I know how to do. And there's a lot of systematics behind those things, okay? So just, you can figure it out if you want to, or you can jump into a time machine with me and get it all now. All right? Just out of curiosity, if I showed you how to do a $5,000 deal every single month, how much would that be worth to you? It would be at least worth $5,000. If you did a $5,000 deal every month, which is not very hard to do, after a year, that's $60,000. So just pause for a moment and imagine what you would do with an extra $60,000 right now. If you had $60,000, $5K a month, by the way, is a payment on a nice house. Even in California, it's a nice house. $5,000 a month, if you want that Maserati, you got money to spare on that deal. $5,000 a month, you wait a month or 2, 3 months max, and you have a very nice vacation. By then, you could probably take it. You know? I told my wife, I'm like, we've been talking about going to Italy. I'm like, man, as soon as we can go, because everything's going to be so expensive right now, now's the time. If you want a great vacation, get a couple deals, take your vacation. $60,000 would pay some of that debt down too, wouldn't it? $60,000 put into your kid's college fund. If you like supporting nonprofits, $60,000 to the nonprofit of your choice is a nice big check, probably their biggest check this year. Think about what you could do with $60,000. I mean, it's one thing to think nice thoughts towards a nonprofit, and it's another thing to write them a $60,000 check. That's what you can do when you begin to implement the strategies that I'm teaching you, okay? So you came here, I don't know when you came here, where you're at, but I think everybody, myself included, you're all like, okay, how can I start to make some money in the situation that I'm in right now? I'm giving you an example of how you could do that. And plenty of coaching students who have followed that formula, okay? So, what if I said that I would guarantee that you would make $5,000? I'm just telling you, man, this works, okay? It works when you do what? Yeah, I mean, you can't just like read it and be like, where's the $5,000, Ed? You know, you do it, and you implement it. Some people say yes. Some people say, I got to sleep on it. And some other people say yes. And some other people say, I got to sleep on it. Yeah, I have more people that talked about doing coaching with me than actually did. That's okay. That's okay for me. That's okay for them. It's probably better for me than it was for them. They probably should have done it anyway. But everybody makes their own decision. So if you talk to 5 people, so look at this for a second. Let's do it like this. If you talk to 4 people, every 4 people you talk to, you get one deal for $5,000. That's $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 this year. If you just talk to 4 people. So that means how many people do you need to talk to per week? You need to talk to one person a week to make $60,000, which is about right. Those numbers that I just gave you are probably about right. You need to talk to one person a week, and you'll get another $60,000. And I'd like to break it down that way for you, because then your subconscious knows, oh, now I know what to do. Talk to one person a week. Well, the truth is they're on your phone probably. If not, they're in your Facebook following. If not, they're probably in this room or in this community. Somebody's going to do a deal before this day's over, by the way. I guarantee you. So listen, if I told you just talk to one person, you make $5,000, that's $60,000. Would you just talk to one person? Should just go talk to one person. We talk to more than one a week. Yes, talk to 10. Do as many as you want, but just go do it, for crying out loud, okay? Number 7, scripts. When I say scripts, here's what I mean. Somebody says the price is a little out of my range, then you know what to say. If somebody says I need to sleep on it, you know what to say. If somebody says there's a guarantee, you know what to say. If somebody says, I think we need to try to do this maybe next month, Ed, then you know what to say. If somebody says, oh man, I need to talk to my spouse about this one, then you know what to say. That's a script, okay? I got it all written out for you. It's already done. Forms. There's 2 kinds of forms. They're following right behind you. There are proposals and there are agreements. A proposal is the list of things, you got those, right? List of things that you do. And the agreement is what they're going to pay you for the list of things that you do. Okay? You can make it up, or you could use the stuff that already works. Objection counters and more. That's number 7 in your toolkit. Number 8. Oh, here's the whole list, by the way. You need a template for how to schedule appointments, because you don't think but this is marketing. The things that you say to schedule the appointment is marketing. You need scripts for asking the sale, countering objections, how to get speaking events, following up via email, phone, or text, confirming events, attracting talent, your team, scripts for selling books, all that stuff. Okay? That's the checklist of things that you need. And number 5 is you need a team. You need a wingman. You need people to kind of push you along the way, or a community of people to be like, hey, Gary, did you do your one call this week? How's it going? How's it coming along? You need to be in the 87.4% of the people who are making things happen. You need to hang out with people like Carolyn Sampson, where you're like, how in the world did you do $74,000? Because my goal was $60,000 this year, and you did that in one deal. Okay, remember I said it was a year deal? So she got the client to sign up on a monthly deal where she got paid that much over a year. And then following that, after getting paid up front, I don't know if you remember what it said on that slide, she got 10% of the net of the business after that, which is really nice. Of a doctor's office that was already in practice, and she's getting 10%, that's a good deal. All from somebody who didn't even know what they were doing when they first walked into the training, okay? So, a couple things we learned, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Number 1, the first thing we learned in the process of me helping thousands and thousands of people do this, I lost count of the number. It's probably pushing tens of thousands of people that I've taught to do this, and students who have gone out and crushed this, okay? In the thousands. The first one was price elasticity. There was very little difference between someone saying 4,000 or 7,000 or 12,000 or 15,000, because when you say 12,000, it might as well be 15,000. What we realized is the price mattered far, 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 far less than my students thought it did. The price only really became a consideration when the person wasn't totally sure that you could give them the result. If they knew that you could get the result, remember when I said, what if I could give you a $5,000 deal? How much would that be worth? If I gave you one $5,000 deal, would you be willing, for example, to pay $4,000 to get the $5,000 deal? Of course you would, if you knew that was the case, right? So when you know something is the case, the price becomes less of an objection. You might not have come here today like, I'm going to spend $4,000 on Ed's training. But if I'm like, hey, I'm going to guarantee you're going to get a $5,000 deal in the first 90 days of taking the training, you're like, sounds like a pretty good deal to me. So when you're working with people, the price is less of a consideration when they know the result that they're going to get, okay? And that's why consulting is all about the result. Number two, this is really important, minimum experience. I actually underestimated this when we first started. And then people started doing deals. I didn't tell them to do this at first. I didn't tell them, go offer something you don't know how to do and then learn it. I'd never said that at first. They just all did it. And I was like, okay, well, guess that's a new strategy, because it worked for them and it worked for their clients and it worked for me. Number two, ask for the sale, 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 ask for the sale. It doesn't make any sense to be on the phone with that girl for an hour and a half and not ask her on a date. She knew you were calling for a date in the first place. Just ask, what are you doing on Thursday night? Don't ask her what kind of horses she likes or whatever. And I don't even know if you know, but that's like autobiographical right there. Okay, so what kind of horses do you like? Just ask, okay? Just be like, so you ready to get started working together? And then they say yes, and you're like, whoa, that was easier than I thought it was, and now you're not nervous anymore. Because just before you ask that, you will get a little nervous. You know what I'm saying? You're not feeling, here it comes. But you know what? When you say it, then you don't have to think about it anymore. Do you ever have that conversation you're supposed to have with someone? You're like, I have to have that hard conversation with somebody. And you think about it, and you think about it, and you think about it. And finally, you're like, I just got to do this and stop thinking about it. So sometimes you just need to ask, hey, you want to work together? Yeah, cool. Let's do it. Sometimes it just happens that quick. Or you answer the questions. It's not hard. Number 4 was the level of growth. What happened in our community of consultants is everybody got better because everybody got better. And everybody started helping each other. We started getting guys doing deals together. One guy liked helping them with the books. Somebody liked offering things. One dude liked doing text message marketing. One person would rather do the marketing of the text message marketing. Two women got together. One person really liked helping the business. One person really liked selling the thing and getting the money. They started getting together to do that, okay? And that happens inside this community. So this summer, by the way, I'm going to do a consultant training. You probably already figured that out, okay? So this summer, I'm going to do a full course, okay? It's a brand new course. I'm going to tell you about it in a second. But I will tell you, inside of our community, there will be deals that are done together. So if you feel like, man, I don't like the delivery part. I like the sales part. Well, guess what? There's going to be somebody in this training who likes the other side. You two get together and have a business. And we got 6-figure people. Some of you know Melanie and Jen. Some of you remember John and Everett. All the people that got together and they just grew businesses together because they decided to help each other out. Okay, that was a level of growth in the community. There is the checklist. Number 1, positioning. Number 2, pricing. Number 3, presenting. 4, pitch. 5, produce. Great delivery and follow-up. Generate interest, scripts, objection counters, and your team and your wingmen. Okay, so what should we talk about next? I have an idea. So we sent out this little survey. I'm going to give you the results, okay? So here's the survey result. Y'all voted. This was the first event. This is the author event. 4s and 5s. So 5s were 38.6 event. 38.6 were the 5s. It averaged in at 3.6. The reason for that is a lot of you have books already. Okay, so this is the first one, which is about an author event. The second one, however, look at that one. that is definitive, just so you know. That right there, that is definitive, okay? So what you asked for is you said, hey, Ed, the next event, could we do a consulting event to show you how to walk out to make $5,000 deals, okay? Now, I've never done this, but I think you know at this point, like, do you know that I know what I'm talking about in this niche industry? Yes. This is what I'm really, really good at. This is what I live. This is how I pay for my food that goes on our table. This is how, my family lives where we live and drive what we drive, and I've been doing this for a really long time. wait, I mean, I've been doing this since 2007. So I got it down, and I know that I can help you, okay? And I've never done this before, but I was thinking about it this week, and I'm like, there's no reason why I don't tell you what I'm going to tell you, which is this. The course is very simple, okay? I'm going to guarantee you that within the first 90 days of the course that you're going to close a $5,000 deal or deals up, accumulating up to at least $5,000. So my guarantee is when you, this is important by the way, when you do the training, you can't just like sign up and not show up, okay? So when you do the training and when you implement, and here's the bar I'm giving you to implement. You have to be able to demonstrate you did two things, and it could be any two things, okay? Now look, you're gonna do more than two things because you gotta do more than two things in life, you know what I'm saying? But I made the bar as low as possible. You need to show up and take the training, whether it's online when we're live online or recorded, okay? Whatever version of the training. And you have to show me that you implemented at least two things, and within the first 3 months, I am going to guarantee you that you will get at least one $5,000 deal or deals adding up, so maybe two $2,500 deals or $5,000 deals depending on your niche. Remember I told you, one of my clients is $1,000 deals because that's like the perfect price for him for a 3-month program for his fitness people, okay? So it may not be a 1, but you're gonna get 5. Is that clear? You're gonna make $5,000, okay? So theoretically, how much would you pay me for this course if I'm telling you you're gonna make 5? At least 5, because after that, everything is yours to keep, okay? So let's set that as just the number. I'm gonna tell you what's inside of it, okay? But let's set that as the number. All right, now, check that out, by the way. Brand new, baby. This is like as of this week, okay? The new program is called Top Gun Consultant, all right? Look, let me do this again. All right, ready? Check that out, huh? The new, okay. Woo, man. I know, you're like, just tell me where the form is, all right? You can hand the forms out, just hand them out. For those of you on Zoom, I'm gonna give you a link in just a second, okay? And I will tell you, there will be a reason to fill your form out or to follow the link because the first 5 people who fill their form out and put it in are gonna get access to the training. Don't do it until I tell you the price because you gotta write the price in the page. The first 5 people to the back are gonna get one of those backpacks. And the first 5 Zoom that go to the link and register, I get an email when you register. The first 5 people on Zoom who register, we're gonna send you a backpack from here to you. You'll get it this week, right? You're gonna send them this week, right, Meredith? Yep. We're gonna drop them in the mail to you, okay? So, by the way, check this out. Oh, shoot, hold on. I had a motion graphic in here. Never mind, I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you later. It's a cool airplane, and then the graphic comes in, but you don't need that. Let me just tell you what's inside the program. We are going to meet on Zoom, okay? So this program is digitally delivered. So we're gonna meet on Zoom. The dates are on your form, but write these down. The dates are August 18th to August 28th. For those of you who did Ultimate Speaker with me, which is most of you, you remember we met at 10 o'clock Pacific in the morning, and we went for about an hour and a half each day, okay? And we're gonna do that for a period of 2 weeks. During that time, I'm gonna be teaching you my entire system. Before that, however, I'm going to be sending you a manual in the mail that's about this big. It's got everything you need. All the forms, scripts, agreements, objection counters. I've got your proposals in here. I've got your agreements in here. I've got PowerPoint presentations inside of here. And inside of the membership site, they're all downloadable, okay? So I have an agreement that I use. My agreement I built when I was working with attorneys. This is the best. When I was working with attorneys, I would always send the agreement out. And then you know what attorneys do when they get an agreement? They have to do this. No matter how great the agreement is, an attorney is required by their training to fix 2 things. So for 2 years, I sent this one agreement out to all the attorneys, and they all fixed it. I had like 50 attorneys, each fixed 2 things. And so by the time 2 years went by, it was the best agreement. I had 50 attorney team, okay, for free fixed. So the agreement I'm gonna give you is the 50 attorney scrubbed agreement, all right? So like it's good to go. All the stuff inside here is yours to use, okay? I don't have time to go through it all, but you've got everything you need, all right? I'm gonna start with position. Walk you through the positioning, you're gonna choose one and implement it. I'm gonna teach you all the pricing models, but I'm also gonna give you proposals that you can use that support your pricing models. So this program, you can see at the top of the form, it said that this is the Done With You program. The reason it's done with you is because all the work that you needed to do, I did for you, except for the part where you go ask for the sale, okay? So all that's available to you. We're gonna go through those 5 modules. What are the dates? August what? 18th to the 28th. Now, if you can't make the training on one day or all the days, everything's recorded like we usually do. Everything's put into the membership site, which you get access to for the life of the membership site, okay, which is conceivably as long as you could ever need it, which means a year from now, you could go back into the program, watch the training, download the form, and then implement it right there. Does that make sense? If it does, say hoorah. Hoorah. Some of you are like, just tell me the price, dude, and let me get to the back. All right? Plus, I'm going to show you what I believe are the 5 most lucrative business models. Remember I said book marketing, video, live streaming, strategic advisor. Those ones, I'm going to give you not only those models, not only am I going to teach you those models, but I'm also going to give you proposals that have already been done for you on those models. Like I said, this is done with you. Okay? You'll get everything you need to run a seamless consulting business. You're going to get all my scripts, all my emails, all my proposals, all my agreements, all my templates. Like, Harisha, if I just gave you all this stuff and didn't even teach it to you, you'd have the value of the program because of all the work that's been done for you. And you're going to see the mistakes that you've made along the way, which is fine. You're just going to be able to correct those because of what you get and what I send to you. And by the way, the manual is an actual manual. Like, remember Ultimate Speaker, I sent you one in the mail? I'm going to send you an actual manual in the mail. The manual is, it's already huge. I mean, it's got more stuff. Jonathan, what did you call this thing? Remember when you did, I forget what you called it. He's like, Ed sent me this thing, and it was like 500 pounds, and I had to have a forklift that, anyway. So he said it better than I just did. All right? So I'm going to do this quick, because you already know it's an awesome deal, okay? There's an online portal. Everything is recorded for you. So you get access to all the recordings. You get a pre-event fast start call, so a week from Tuesday, not this Tuesday. I don't even know when a week from Tuesday is. What is that date? What is it? Somebody look at your thing.
It says Monday, July 6th.
That's this Tuesday. What's the week later? The 13th. This Tuesday's the 30th? Oh, so it's the 6th. It's July 6th, 2 Pacific. We're going to do a fast start call. So my goal for you is on August 18th, we're going to start the training. My goal for you and my challenge for you, actually, is I would like to see if you can get that 5K before we even start. How cool would it be to come and show up at a training having already gotten paid for the training that you're going to learn? Okay, so on the fast start call, I'm going to give you just a handful of fast action strategies, some things that you can do right now so that you can show up for the training having already got a deal. And I'm going to give you a little incentive to do that, okay? Because I'm going to make, when you do that, I'm going to tell everybody about you so that you're going to get exposure to my folks because I would love to be able to tell your story. So I'm going to give you a little reason to get started fast, okay? If you missed the fast start call, that's going into the section 2. You're going to get the action manual and then what I call my entire proposal toolkit. That's all my tools and scripts and forms and agreements. Okay? So here's the price. $10K. Now you already know that's not the price, all right? But listen, would it be worth it if we charge? That's it. I mean, come on. Would it have been worth it for Carolyn Sampson to pay $10,000 to make a $74,000 deal? Yeah. Would it be worth it for Jim House to pay $10K and do a $40,000 deal? Yeah. Jim was my book. I paid him. I actually hired Jim, who I taught to be a consultant. I've hired 3 of my students, by the way, to be my consultants in certain parts of my business. Okay? I hired one guy for marketing. I hired Jim House for book marketing, and I hired somebody else to get my butt in shape. Okay? So look, you never know what's going to happen. You might end up working with somebody even inside of the community. Okay? That's not your price. But if we did it at $5,000, would it be worth it? Yeah. I already told you, look, I should just make it 5. I don't even know why I didn't make it 5, because I already told you you're going to make 5. I should just make it 5. Just write $5,000 down. I'm just kidding. Are you ready for this? Seriously, this is the price. It's very simple. The pricing is simple. It's 3 investments of $547 or 1 single investment of $14.97. Now, is that a deal or is that a deal? So here's what I want you to do. Pick your selection on the sheet, okay? The website, by the way, for those of you who are watching at home, the website is, I just told you the guarantee already. I'm going to do it in a second. Oh, by the way, I'm going to skip through this real quick. This is what you get in this program. Remember the checklist that I told you need? You get the whole checklist. There's the website. For those of you watching at home, it's edrush.com/topgun.